I'm Robert, and today we're going to be using the brush tool, the graduated tool, and dehaze to take this image from here to here, all in Lightroom. I'm back at one of my favorite spots in Laguna. I wish I could shoot this image from that patio on the bottom right hand side. I actually spoke with that owner once. He wanted to know what my rate was to shoot his kid's birthday party. I really didn't want to shoot a kid's birthday party, so I gave him a crazy price. Unsurprisingly, I never heard back from him. The view from that patio would give me a better angle so I could shoot the house that's on the cliff. That's the same house that was in one of my previous videos. I'm going to start off by bringing down the highlights. It makes the horizon easier to see so I can straighten it later. Let's move down to the bottom like we usually do. Make sure we're on the current version. We're going to skip vignetting for now. Now we're on straightening, press constrain crop, zoom in on the horizon, and let's bring up our tool. That looks straight. In this image, I also want to straighten out the lines that's in this house right here. So we're going to use the vertical tool for that. So we lose a little bit of the image, but now we have straight vertical lines on this house. It's not necessary, but since I shoot architectural photography also, I like to keep my vertical straight. Let's move on up here. Click on Remove Chromatic Aberrations and Enable Profile Corrections. You can see I was shooting with my Tokina 11-16 on a Canon 40D. Let's take a quick look at the settings I was using. 1/4 of a second at f10 and ISO 200. So we kind of have a slow shutter speed, and you can see it in the water here. We have a nice amount of rushing water. All right, let's go up to our sharpening. We're going to do our standard sharpening routine of 100 and applying a mask. Hold down the Alt key so we can bring our mask up, and let's sharpen everywhere except for the sky. Right about here. We're going to skip the color panel and go straight up to the basic panel. We've already brought down the highlights, so let's bring the shadows up. Maybe that's a little too much. We'll back it down. Now that we can see the scene a little bit better, it looks a little bit cool, so let's go to temperature and just bring it up just slightly. Now we have a nice warmth to this image. Next up, let's adjust our white point and our black point. Grab the white slider, slide it up until we start to clip, then back it down. We'll do the same with the black slider. Bring it down until we clip, then bring it back up. That'll help set our exposure as well as our contrast. In this image, there's a lot of mist in the scene from the large waves, so we're lacking clarity and contrast. We're going to use the dehaze tool to fix that. So click on dehaze and let's bring it up a little bit. 20 looks good, but let's take it up a little bit farther to see what happens. It just adds too much contrast. It looks really unnatural. So let's bring it back down to 20. Now our base image is set. We can work on the colors. We're going to go to the HSL panel and start with luminance. I'm going to bring down all of the colors that I see in the sky to make them a little bit darker. So we'll start with red, bring it down. Same with orange. Yellow. We also have purple and magenta in the sky. For luminance, I almost always go negative, which makes the colors darker. Once in a while, I want to brighten up some colors. It's usually green, but I don't always do that. I almost always bring saturation up. It brings more vibrance to the colors. So let's do the same thing we did in luminance, and we're going to bring the saturation up in all the colors we see in the sky. Just a little bit though. Now let's continue working on the sky. We're going to grab our graduated tool, pull it down over the sky. While holding down Shift, it'll create a straight line. You can double click on effects to reset all the sliders. Let's start by adding some color to the sky. We're going to warm it up and put a little bit of red into it. You can move your pointer around to get different looks. So I'm going to slide it over here. More of a red. That looks good. And to bring it out even more, we can bring up the saturation. There we go. Let's take a look at how this affected our image. Here was before, and here's after. We have more color and more warmth in the sky. Now let's grab our brush tool and do some work on all of this area here. So I'm going to paint in pretty much everything that we see. We can press down O so we can have an overlay to see where we're working. I'm just going to do a real general rough masking. Doesn't need to be super precise. Press O to turn off our overlay, and I'm just going to add a little bit of texture to bring this area out. I usually go with 30 on texture. It seems to be a good amount. Not too much, not too little. Alright, one more thing I want to fix with the brush. Let's click on New. And I want to bring out this water here. I think I can make it a bit brighter and more white. So let's reset all of our sliders. And let's bring the exposure up on the water. We'll bring it up past a point that looks good, then back it down. That looks nice. All right, we're done with the brush tool now. I think I'm going to make one more adjustment into the green areas here. So let's go down to the HSL panel, click on Luminance, and this time we're going to do the opposite. Let's brighten the green areas up. Now that we brightened them up, let's add some saturation into them. That makes them pop a little bit more. Let's take a look at the before and after. Here's before and after. Even though we went pretty aggressive on the green slider, it only made a slight adjustment. It was pretty subtle. If I zoomed in just a little bit on this image, I could have eliminated both of the houses. But I like to include houses in my images. I like to picture myself living there. Do you think it's better that I left the houses in, or should I have cropped them out? Leave a comment below. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. Thanks.